welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about appraisals. I'm dealing with an appraisal issue now with a client I have under contract, and I want to talk about what an appraisal is, why it's important, and how it can kill a deal. So an appraisal is essentially an apples to apples comparison on the property you're trying to buy against three other subject properties that are similar in obviously location, square footage, layout, bedrooms and bathrooms, off-street parking. If it's a condo or a home, they want to make sure they're looking at something that's similar in that neighborhood to make sure the price that you're paying is fair. So kind of how does the process work, right? The lender that you're working with, if you are a buyer, say you're working with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo will contact an appraiser and have them come out to the property, go inside, take their photos, assess it, to also see if there's any safety or hazardous issues, especially with FHA loans. They will look for what they're called lender required repairs. So for instance, say there's safety bars on the windows. If there's no release latch from the inside in case there's a fire, you have to have them removed. So the lender will put on the report, these are the items that are safety issues, tripping hazards, or there's no heat, that type of thing. Those type of things cannot pass an FHA appraisal. So they have to be repaired generally by the seller. I wouldn't suggest a buyer to deal with those issues, because if you don't go to settlement, you sunk money into a property that's not even yours. So it's never a good thing to do if you are the buyer. Now, going back, the appraiser will, take all of their photos, do their assessment, and give to you a report. This is usually done within the first 21 days of being under contract. It's done at the same time as a financing contingency. So the report will be about, 20 pages or so, and it will be, you'll see your subject, which is your property, and then you'll see three other comparables. And it will be kind of like an Excel sheet. So it will have the address, it will have bedrooms, bathrooms, off-street parking, condition, and then various other descriptive words for the property itself, to make sure that when you're looking at the report, you're like, okay, this property is just like mine. And one is to make sure that you're getting the property for a fair price, because there's a lot of sellers out there that think their property is just amazing. It's the bee's knees, and nobody can beat my property, and the price, I'm going to make sure it's sky high. That's exaggerating, but it could happen. And it's to protect the buyers out there, the public, to make sure that they're getting a professional opinion on the property, and they have no ties to it. They're unbiased. They don't even know the seller. It's a real professional opinion on the price of the property to make sure you're getting it at a fair price. Now, it can come in lower than the appraised value. So say you're making an offer on a house that's $500,000 and the appraised value comes in at $475,000. If you're an FHA offer, then when you get the appraisal done, say it comes in at $475,000, you can ask them to lower the price so you can purchase it for the actual value of the home. Now, the seller does not have to accept. They can say yes, just to get it off their books. They want to sell it, they want to be done with it. Or they can say, you know what? No, I'll take my chances back on the market to see if I can sell it for more. So if they do put it back on the market, then that limits the type of loans that they can accept for offers. So an FHA appraisal sticks with the property for 120 days. It's a long time, especially when you're looking to sell something and possibly make some money off of it. You need to get access to it. So if you put it back on the market as a seller, you can only take conventional or cash offers then, because if you get an FHA, they're going to keep going back to that lower appraised value price. So it's important to know, what the home has appraised for, being that one, if it appraises for lower or higher. Now, if it appraises for higher than what you're offering, that means you have to pay the difference in cash. And that's a lot. Most people don't want to do that because you're overpaying for the property, and the value itself is lower than what you're coming out of pocket for. Because the bank, like I said, will only lend to you what the property is worth. So anything above that is on you. Now, people do it. Now, once it's a competitive situation, or they're tired of looking, or they really, really want the property, then they'll pay the difference in cash. And that's up to the buyer. So it's really important to understand kind of how the process is done. And you can also check out comps before the appraisal even comes in. I mean, there's so much information out there and systems out there where you can pull, pending offers that are under contract. You can pull sold comps, so you can see kind of a roundabout value and also see photos to see comparative conditions. Now, this could kill a deal because if, like I said before, if the agent, if the seller does not want to come down on price, if it's actually worth less than what they think it is, then we're done. Like, you can't buy the house if you're the buyer, if you're an FHA or conventional. Then they have to put it back on the market or do renovations and hope that they can bring up the value. To me, it's kind of a waste of time to do that if you just price it properly up front. But those things happen, and you just need to make sure you're aware and you understand the language in the contract for the appraisal process. Like I said, it's usually done within the first 21 days. The buyer pays for the report. So it's about $500. Some banks make you pay for it up front. Some charge you at settlement once you close. So otherwise, if you don't close prior, then they just eat the cost of the appraisal. But it is something that needs to be done. Like I said, all banks require it. Nobody wants to pay more than what the home is worth unless you're super in love with it. Then do whatever your heart desires. So that's kind of the concept of appraisals, what they are, why they're important, why it could kill a deal. So please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to help. Otherwise, I'll see you later.